Hello friends. So today we will see a very important topic on API gateway and how the services are getting registered and how the client side load balancing will happen. All these things in microservices today we will discuss. Okay, one by one. Perfect. So first of all, we will see if you able to see this diagram. Okay, this is the sample flow of the application. Okay, means this is the client can be anything, your postman, your anything. It is sending the request. That is the step one. When the request routes, it comes to your gateway. This is the gateway. Okay, and request will come to this gateway, and let's say this gateway is started on port 8080, and in this is a separate Spring Boot application, and all your requests will come to the gateway. And there is one main server actually, Eureka Server. If you see this one, this is the Eureka Server, and that is the main server, and all services will register to this server. Means your account service will register to this server, your card service will register to this server, and as many instances of this account and card services you create, all will register to this Eureka server. Okay, and this gateway will also register to this Eureka server. Okay, everything will be uh, you know get registered to this Eureka server, and for that reason only we must need to start this Eureka server very first. Then we need to start this gateway, and then we need to start individual microservices. Okay, so how the flow is going. So we have, say, let's say account microservice and card microservice, and let's say we have some five instances of account microservice if you see here, and five instances of card microservice. Okay, so client means postman or anything is hitting the request. So this is step one. Request is going to gateway. Then in step two, all services are registered to the Eureka server. And in the step two, what is happening? All the requests are coming through the gateway first. Then a request come to gateway. Gateway checks its routing rules, and those routing rules are mentioned inside the application.yml file in the gateway project itself. So in the gateway project we have application.yml file, and in that all the routing rules are mentioned inside the application.yml file in the gateway project itself. Okay, and then it tried to match the pattern. Example, for example, from postman I am hitting slash api slash accounts, then it will try to match for this endpoint which project is mapped. So above means that client has requested the account details, so then it find its routing rule for this request, and then found that it is mapped to which service. See, in the URL itself it is mentioned account, so it is mapped to account service. Now it found that it mapped to account service. Then gateway is also registered with the Eureka server. We already discussed that. Then gateway asks the Eureka server, hey Eureka server, how many instances of this account service are currently running? So Eureka server returns all the running instances to gateway. Then, so we know that currently there are five instances, for example. Okay, in our main application we started two instances, but just for your understanding and information, we have taken five instances here as an example. Okay, I will show you all this info with two running instances. So the instances are more than one, right? So if multiple instances are running, in our case, yes, it is more than one instance is running. Then gateway uses client side load balancing. Gateway itself is using client side load balancing and uses round robin algorithm to distribute the request and traffic to different instance of that service. See, so for example, if you see step 2, okay, and step 3, it is deciding which service instance we need to find. and let's say it found account instance 3 that need to hit, then it will hit the instance, it will send the request to that instance, and whatever the response it is returning from that account service instance 3, those response will be again back to the gateway itself. That response will come back to the gateway, and then gateway sends that response to the client. So this is the overall picture and scenario. Here we will discuss step by step. Then I will show you, this is the complete architecture I shown you. Then I will show you step by step all this procedure. Okay, so just stay with me and I will show you everything step by step. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do, create the Eureka server. That is the step one. So if we go to our IntelliJ IDEA, okay, and here if you see, Eureka server is the project. Okay, in this Eureka server project, what we need to do, we need to add Spring Boot starter parent, and Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Eureka Server. These two dependencies we need to add in pom.xml file. If you see here, we have added these two dependencies. Okay, Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Eureka Server, and you know the web related dependency. That is the main thing. Okay, then Spring Cloud version also we need to add. So Spring Cloud version currently what it is using. So it is using 2025.0.1, that is the version, and we are using Java 2021. Okay. Then what we need to do, inside the Eureka server application, whatever our main class is resides. So our main class is here in SRC main Java. Okay, Eureka server application is the main class. So here we need to add this annotation, @enable Eureka server, @enable Eureka server. This annotation we need to add, and which enables Eureka server functionality for us. Okay, that is the next step. Then what we need to do, then we need to go to application.yml file of this project in the Eureka server itself. Okay, and here we need to add the server dot port. Okay, so 8761 is the port on which our Eureka server is running, and here we need to add some properties like Eureka client register with Eureka. We need to make it false because this is the server, right? So we don't need to register the server itself. That's why we make it false. Fetch registry false, not fetching registry from other servers. Okay, so that's why we made it false. And self enable self preservation, which also we made false, and it is for disabled for just for development purpose. Okay, these properties we need to add, and after that, yes, that's it, done. Step 2, what we need to do, we need to create the API gateway. If you open this project, API gateway, and here in this API gateway project, we need to add two dependencies main. Okay, Spring Cloud Starter Gateway is the one dependency. Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Eureka Client, this is another dependency, because this is the client which is going to register to the Eureka server. That's why we made it this one as client, and in Eureka server, that is different dependency. If you open Eureka server, it is Eureka server dependency. Perfect. So we have added in API gateway, we have added these two dependencies, and then we need to open main application where main method resides. Okay, we need to open that class, and we need to add this annotation on the top of this main class. Okay, @enable discovery client, @enable discovery client, this annotation we need to add at the top of this class. And yeah, then which enables service registration and discovery. Okay, then in application we need to go to application.yml file, and here we need to add the port. Okay, this is the default port, whatever the port here we are adding, server.port, that is the default port. Okay, and here also we need to give the application name, that is API gateway is our application name. Okay, and here inside the cloud gateway, routes, we need to add the routes. This is the route information, whatever we discussed in our um, architecture. First, whatever I explained there, this is nothing but our route. This path is nothing but the predicates, ID, URI, and predicates. These three information we need to add in each and every route. Okay. ID is nothing but our service name. URI is nothing but the load balanced URL. Okay. This is the service name. And predicate. Predicate means whatever the path are there which is coming from client. Okay. So sometime client can hit slash API slash accounts. Sometime client can hit slash API slash cards. So based on this, which load balancing URL or service we need to decide, we need to mention it here in cloud.gateway.routes. In cloud.gateway.routes, how many parameters are there? Mainly three parameters are there: ID, URI, and predicates. Okay, perfect. And then this is the Eureka client, so we need to mention the eureka.client.service URL default zone, and here we need to add server URL, on which server our uh, server is there, on which port, okay, it is running. We need to add that URL here in the gateway itself. Okay, this information we need to add it. And instance, okay, prefer IP address false, so we don't want IP address, right? We want service name. Instance id random value, some value it will pick. It is used for showing up in service. Okay, this random id I will show you straight away. uh, Give me 1 minute, I will show you straight away what is the id. Random id, see, if you see this one, this is the random id, some id it is speaking, right? So this id is nothing but whatever we given in our IntelliJ. Okay, and local host. So whatever id is for local host, it is picking that it is for local host only. Okay, and this account service, how this name is coming, this name is coming which we given in IntelliJ idea. Okay, in IntelliJ idea we given that name. Okay, that's why that name is coming there. So if you see account services, we have given it, right? So that name is coming there. Perfect. So this is the information we need to add. Then we need to create the our accounts service, that is the main microservice. And if you go to account service, here if you open the pom.xml file, here what dependencies we have added. We have added Spring Data JPA because we want to create the tables and all. Here we have added starter web because we need to write the controllers and all. Okay, and we are saying here this is the Spring Cloud Starter Netflix Eureka client. So this is also one client. We are saying account service is also one client which is going to register to the Eureka server. That's why we made it this one as client. Okay, H2 database. This is in-memory database we have added, and Lombok project Lombok we have added for for getter setter purpose. Okay, that's fine. Then okay, perfect. Then we have created this application, account service application. Okay, in account service application, what we have added? We have added at the rate enable discovery client. So this is also our client, right? So whatever the clients we want to register to our Eureka server, we need to add this annotation on top of our main Spring Boot application class at the rate enable discovery client. Okay, perfect. So we have added that one, and then we created entity. This is our account entity. It is very simple. ID is there, account number, account type, balance, and customer ID. All these fields are there. And at the rate data we have added. So getters and setters will be generated automatically. I at the rate ID annotation is added for generating the primary key. Perfect. And then what we have added? We have added account repository class. If you go to account repository class, okay, this is the interface account repository, and it which extends JPA repository. Here we need to give which entity is that and what is the primary key type for that is long in our case. Okay, so we have given this one. Perfect. Then we have created one account controller. If you go to controller package and if you go to this account controller, so account controller is there, and at the rate REST controller annotation we have added on top of that, at the rate request mapping slash API slash accounts we have added this path. Okay, and account repository we created this constructor. We have initializing this account repository inside the constructor, and we have created some methods: get all accounts, create account, okay, get account by id, and get port. Okay, this port, in intentionally we have written this method to show you how the load balance is happening using ports. Okay, that's why we have mentioned is it like this. Okay, so account controller we have created, then get all accounts method, create account, get account by id, get port, all these methods we have created. Now main part is application.yml. If you go to application.yml of account service, here we have added server.port, then we have added spring.application.name, we have given his name as account service, and the data source, in memory data source we are using, right? So in data source we have given url, driver class name, username and password. URL is nothing but our JDBC colon h2 colon mem colon account db. Driver class name is nothing but org.h2.driver. Username is sa. It is default sa, and password is password. It is default thing. Okay, and h2 console enable true. H2 console we have added this path also. Okay, and then main thing is nothing but Eureka client service URL, eureka.client.service.url default zone. This default zone we need to add it. Okay, so this default zone is nothing but the URL of our Eureka server. We are telling that this client is going to register to the Eureka server on this port. Okay, that's why we have mentioned this. On each and every client, we need to mention these URLs. Okay, and then instance, we prefer IP address false. We have made instance ID. Just previous project we shown you some random ID will be get generated, and it's for localhost. Okay, so similarly, whatever the account service is there, we need to create the card service similar to that. If you open the card service, then all the details are same there in card service also. Okay, so in card service also spring.cloud.version is there, spring.boot, spring boot starter data jpg dependency is there, spring boot starter web dependency is there, spring cloud starter netflix eureka client we have added it here, then h2 in memory database we have added it there, project lombok we have added it for generating getters and setters. Okay, and then in cards application as well, on the top of this cards application spring boot main class we have added annotation at the rate enable discovery client. Okay, after that we created one entity, card entity, similar to our account entity. Okay, whatever the fields we have taken for card number, card type, card limit, etc., and at the rate entity we made it. Okay, and it is the data annotation for generating automatically getters and setters. Okay, in repository class we created cards repository, extend jpa repository and cards, and primary key for that long we have mentioned it here. Okay, and after that we created controller class cards controller, and at the rate rest controller annotation we have added, at the rate request mapping annotation we have added with path, at the rate slash api slash cards. Okay, we added this one, and uh, port is added just for showing you the how load balancing is happening you using different ports. Then we have added get all cards, then get card, create card, all these methods, and all get card by id, get port, all these methods we have added. And main thing we added in application.yml is this is the port. Okay, 8082 is the port which on card service default port it is running. you know Card service is running on default port. Okay, then spring.application.name we are given as card service. Okay, then data source, then in data source what we have added, four values: url, driver class name, username and password, similar to account service. Okay, yes, to console enable path to true we have given it, and we are saying this is our Eureka client and which is going to connect to Eureka server, and that's why we have given this default zone service URL. Okay, so this URL is for this URL is of Eureka server. Okay, we have added this one, and local list we have added for local, and instance ID we are saying random value any peak, this application name colon random value any peak. Okay, so we have given all these things. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so card microservice is also created in YAML file. Also we have added things, and yeah, everything is set up. Now we need to test our application. Okay, okay, we need to start the services now. There is some order we need to follow for starting the services. Okay, so first we need to start the Eureka server, which is running on 8761. So if you see, I started Eureka server, okay, which is running on, if you see, Eureka server which is running on, if you open it, 8761 which is running. Okay, if you see which services are running, so this Eureka server application, if you see here, Eureka server application is started. Okay, then we need to start API gateway which is running on 8080. If you see API gateway, this one which is running on 8080, and then once the API gateway and Eureka server is started, then we need to start our individual microservices. Our individual microservices, running on port 8081 and 8082, that is by default. Okay, by default those are running on 8081 and 8082. Okay, but what I did, I made two instances of this account service, accounts 1 and accounts 2. If you're able to see it, two instances are running. Okay, one account service is running on 8081 and another is running on 8083. If you see, two accounts instances are running 8081 and 8083. Similarly, cards also, two instances are running, cards this one and cards 2. Okay, so cards instances are running on 8082 and 8084. So uh, perfect. So if you, then now I will show you by going to Postman. I will hit some APIs. Okay, let me go to Postman. I created the account actually. 1 minute. Let me do one thing. Let me stop everything. Okay, I will show you by step by step. Okay, let me stop all these services. Stop all. Perfect. Okay, so no service is running now. So let me go to Eureka server and let me start the Eureka server application. I will show you step by step. Okay, so I have started Eureka server application. Okay, so Eureka server application I have started, and if you want to see how it looks like, then go here and click on this link. Okay, localhost colon 8761 on this port Eureka server is started. If you see, currently no instances are running on this. Okay, no instances are running currently. Then what I will do, I will start our gateway application. If you go to gateway service, API gateway application, and start it. Perfect. And now, just now I started gateway application, and if you go to Chrome and refresh this URL, if you see API gateway is started. Okay, this is the service name and this is some random ID. Perfect. And up one instance is up there for API gateway. Perfect. Now what I will do, gateway and server, those two are started. Perfect. Now what I will do, I will start two instances of account service. Okay, now let me go to IntelliJ, and this is account service 1, and let me start it. So account service 1 is started on port 8081. Okay, first instance of account service is started on port 8081. If you want to see, on Chrome, then go to Chrome and refresh the page. If you see account service one instance is up. Now what I will do, I will start another instance of account service. Okay, so let me go to IntelliJ again, and let me start account service instance 2. Okay, perfect. So this is the account service instance 2. Let me start it. So two instances are started for accounts. If you see, port is for second instance, port is 8083. Okay, so account service 2 instance is started. So if you want to check that, just go to Chrome again. Just go to Chrome again and hit refresh it. So if you see, for account service, two instances are up. Perfect. This is the one instance, comma, second instance. If you see this one, perfect. Then what I will do, I will go to my IntelliJ again, and I will start the card service. I will go to IntelliJ and I will start cards application. Okay, so where is my cards application now? Okay, this is cards one. Start it. Okay, cards is started on 8082. Now if you want to verify it, go to Chrome again and refresh the page. If you see, card service is started, one instance is up. Okay, this one. Now I want to make another instance up for card service. Then again go to IntelliJ, go to here, and cards 2 is there, right? So start it. If you see, cards second instance is started on port 8084. Perfect. So I will show you on Chrome also. I will show you. Just refresh the page. If you see, for card service also, two instances are up. This is the instances, comma separated instances. Perfect. So we can say we have created one server. If you go to uh, our image itself, okay, in this image, if you see this one, this is Eureka server started on port 8087, and account service, whatever the instances are there, I have written it 5 here. I shown you, two instances. We can start as many instances as we want. Okay, and how uh, the instances are getting attached to this server, just now we saw that one, right? And gateway also we started. Okay, and whatever the instances are there, we saw that one, how those instances are you know uh, getting attached to service. Okay, and one more thing I will show you, how we create the instances, n number of instances. If you go to any cars to recent configuration, and if you read that configuration, And here, if we add in VM arguments, okay, this VM arguments, if you add minus D server dot port equal to 8084, 8085, whatever the ports we add it here, then as many as instances you can start it from here, no problem at all. Okay, so that is the thing. Then we started this instance and all. Okay, perfect. Then I will show you how we are calling the services. Okay, if you go here, then if you call this get account method, okay, if you see, initially accounts are not there, so we will create account. If you go to create account method, okay, create account API and slash API slash account URL I am hitting. Okay, we got the 200 okay response and account is getting created. Okay, similarly, get all cards, if you go and hit the API, so initially cards are not there, and then we will go to API slash cards, then we will create the card. So one card is created, then again we will go to get all accounts method and we hit API there. Okay, then we got the account, get all cards API is there. So if you hit that API, then we get all the cards. Perfect. And now we want to check the load balancing. Okay, just observe the port. Okay, how the load balancing is happening. So for account, okay, we know that account is started on port 8081 and 8083. Okay, so how the port is dynamically getting changed here, just observe that. Okay, see, sometime it is using 8081, sometime it is using 8083. Dynamic, dynamically it is routing the request to different available instances, n number of instances. If you add it, then it will route our request to n number of instances dynamically. That is client side load balancing. If you check the cards also, API, if you see 8082 8084 8082 8084 8082, so dynamically it will route our request to different available instances. That is nothing but client side load balancing. Okay, if you revise the concepts, our client is there. Client is nothing but our postman. Postman is hitting the request slash API slash account. Then that request is going to the API gateway. Then in API gateway, whatever it is running on which port, let's say 8080 port, all requests are coming to the API gateway first. Then a request come to gateway. Gateway checks its routing rules, which rules are mentioned in the application.yml file, and then it will ask to, based on that request, it will ask to, Eureka server, that how many instances of this API are running currently. Then Eureka server will return X amount of instances are running for this, service. Okay, then it will use the round robin fashion to route that request to particular running instance. Okay, and then round robin algorithm it will use, and then it will go to that particular instance. Let's say instance 2 it is going, then it will return some result. The result will come back to the gateway and gateway will transfer that result to the client. So this is complete picture of client side load balancing and API gateway. So I hope you found this as useful. So please subscribe this channel to get more videos on these topics, and please let me know in comment section. Thank you so much.